And it's been almost a year now since Grace O'Malley Kumar, Barnaby Webber and Ian Coates were killed in that devastating attack in Nottingham.
In the early hours of the 13th of June last year, Grace and Barnaby, both 19-year-old students, were on their way back from a night out when they were stabbed to death. Then 65-year-old school caretaker Ian was attacked and left for dead. Ian's killer took his van and drove at 3 other pedestrians.
Well, the city of Nottingham came together to grieve. You'll remember how thousands of people attended vigils right across the city and on the university campus there.
Father Callacane pleaded guilty to manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility and was sentenced to an indefinite hospital order at the start of this year. In
February, the Attorney-General referred that sentence to the Court of Appeal, arguing that it was unduly lenient. But now judges have ruled that that wasn't the case. They've deemed that no error had been made during the sentencing. I've been speaking to Emma Webber, Barnaby's mum, who said that despite the disappointment, the result yesterday came as no surprise for her and the other families.
I don't think there was any other outcome than this, and we don't see it as a full stop, and we've never really seen it as the major part of what we're trying to do. But of course it's traumatic, it's awful having to see that person up on the screen again. It doesn't give you the chance to grieve, and like you said, we're nearly a year in, and it was 11 months ago to the day that Callacane murdered my son. And you know, the irony, at the same time this morning we were having to watch his face in court was the same time 11 months ago we were being told that Barney was dead.
And when you say this is not a full stop, what is the continuation then of that sentence?
So we're still in this kind of vortex, this melee of everything going on, and there are 8 different lines of inquiry, review and investigation, and you know we're have to be thrown into each of them. Our concern as families are that they're not going to be joined up, and they're all going to come out at different times, at different levels of quality potentially, and therefore the answers won't be there that we need to know. And therefore, the more this goes along, John, the more we're beginning to believe we do probably need to call for a public inquiry.
And throughout all this, you've met with the Prime Minister, Attorney-General, Leader of the Opposition, MPs of all parties. Do you get the feeling that the political establishment will go for a public inquiry, that it's going to happen, the will is there?
I think that we're being listened to, and I think we're being genuinely listened to, and I appreciate the support that we've had thus far. Unfortunately, I'm slightly suspicious, and I think because of what's happened to us and the trust and faith that we put in our criminal justice system has been so badly tarnished that I'm apprehensive about putting trust and saying anything definitively. You know, the last thing we want is a public inquiry if it wasn't needed. It's just dragging this horror and this trauma out, but I can't. I know that the Kumars and the Coates also can't let this lie until we've properly got answers and appropriate justice.
Just remembering when I first met you back at the start of the year, and that was before the main part of the court case happened, before the conviction happened and obviously the sentencing, and at that point you had no idea where this was going to lead, that you were going to become a campaigner. I just want, you know, what is life like for you now? I mean, how much of your day, every day, is tied up with trying to get the justice that you want?
A lot, too much. We shouldn't be in this position at all. As victims, we aren't even getting the support that we need from victim support. We aren't even allowed any more therapy sessions. So we're trying to navigate all of this on our own, and it's taking its toll emotionally, financially and physically. And yeah, I don't want to be, you know, that campaigner. I don't want to be that woman on the TV again who can't shut up, because I you know, this happened to us. It could have happened to anybody, anywhere. They were doing absolutely nothing wrong.
And obviously every case is different, but when you hear about other attacks in other parts of the country over the last few weeks and months, when those headlines a peer, what goes through your mind? How do you deal with that?
I think it's a visceral reaction actually, because when the North London attack with Daniel that happened a couple of weeks ago, that hit especially hard, because unfortunately he also was at the same school that Grace and her brother were at, and I see it from the public horror perspective, but I also know what that family are going through, and I can remember those awful early hours, days, weeks, and months, and the trust that we had in the legal system, and hoping that we would find a way to deal with our grief and our loss. But that is something that we're still not really able to fully start confronting, because we're having to do all of this, and it just feels so wrong.
And so as we approach the anniversary of what happened in Nottingham, how will you and the other families be marking that day in June?
It's a good question, but it's a really painful question, because it's a little bit, like when something is going to happen, but you just don't want to park it. You don't really want to face it. So the honest answer is, from our perspective, we don't really know yet. What we do know is that we have to face it. Of all of the firsts, this will be by far the worst, obviously. But by talking about it and facing it head on somehow, I know is the only way that we can do it. Looking ahead, we've got lots of plans, for Barney to try and, promote his foundation that we've got to raise those monies and use those in his name, his honour, and his memory. So we'll try and treasure those. But at the moment, with regards to the actual anniversary, I don't know. It's a month away. I can't believe it's a month away. It's yeah, it's been a long 11 months.
It's Emma Webber, Barnaby's mum, chatting to me last night just after they'd heard that verdict from the court. Those plans that they've got for the anniversary, you can't imagine how you approach that date, but they're being so positive, all the families. Emma's organising an event at Barnaby's old school in Somerset, getting all his mates together, and they're having a band and celebration. Grace's family have been organising a hockey match. She loved hockey.
Yeah.
So they're having a big celebrity hockey game for her mates as well. So, they're trying to remember the good times and the positivity around them as well.